I actually met Brian back in 2018 in a tent.
Oh, yeah, I remember with Brandon Block.
With Brandon Block, exactly. So
At a festival.
I went to a festival called Strawberry Woods, and I was in this really amazing wellbeing tent, and they were having lots of different speakers in. I've always been a goal setter, but I've never actually seen anything that Brian shared that day that actually really resonated with sort of like using the whole brain. I just thought it was amazing. So, and what really, really sealed it for me was not only watching Brian's presentation and seeing, I think we did Breaking Arrows as well, but Brandon Block came in after Brian had done his presentation, and I was just thinking it was amazing anyway. And Brandon turned around and said, I know goal mapping works because you're sitting in mine. And I was like, oh my God, that is just so inspiring. And actually, Brandon had created a goal map around putting on Strawberry Woods Festival.
Perhaps we should just say for people, because we've got lots of people joining from lots of countries, Brandon Block is a world famous DJ from the 90s who's won many awards and gold records and been on TV many times and got interested in goal mapping and did a goal map to launch his own festival. And I'd forgotten that's where we met Katrina. So it's a really nice reminder hearing you say that this evening, actually.
Yeah, and it just sealed everything for me. That was it. I was just, as soon as Brandon said you're sitting in my goal map, I was just like, wow, it really works then. And then sort of like shortly after that, I sort of got chatting to you and found out about Shine and went on the Shine at Isle of Wight, which I thought was amazing. And then went on to do the coaching program, the facilitator. And that's probably about the point that you came in, Jill, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So my background is in corporate, and a lot of the things that I've been doing was around creating strategy for businesses. But I'd also trained as a coach. And Katrina introduced me to GoalMap, and when I turned self-employed to do coaching in business, that was very much what I was trying to do, was to help people get direction, because quite a lot of people have great ideas or they're very good at one thing but they don't have a proper plan. So my thing was about having a proper plan. And when Katrina introduced me to goal mapping, I went, oh my God, this is just great. So the first time, and so she took me along to a session with Brian, which was at Heathrow Airport. That's why there's an airport picture there. So I met Brian at Heathrow Airport at the beginning of 2020, actually. And we were looking at maybe collaborating on real life events, but I got involved in goal mapping there. And honestly, everything resonated with me completely, what we looked at through the day of that goal mapping. And it's only later that I discovered that the training, the coach training that I'd done, it's only when we met Brian together and then we discussed it, that the coach training that I'd done was actually quite a lot of it was based on Brian's work, because he'd been involved in creating some of the training courses for that. So actually it all resonates. It's all really great mixture of the science and a mindset. I just love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jill.
Next slide, please.
Oh yeah, and that's when we did meet Brian, didn't we? We did the girl fan club thing.
Stop it.
So we decided to set up a collaboration. I was already doing some training for businesses for networking purposes and sales training. And when I discovered goal mapping, became a qualified practitioner, I wanted to sort of like bring that into my portfolio. And then obviously with Jill, with her coaching, we decided that we'd collaborate, and we decided to call ourselves the Goal Mapping Queens because we're so good at it. And we created this whole brand. And during lockdown, when things were, quite turbulent, Jill and I had something to really focus on, and we created our own area to attract businesses to come and work with us on goal mapping. So
using the online system created.
Yeah, so I did the goal mapping training during lockdown online, and it's a really interesting way of doing it. It's actually quite nice to be able to learn something, let it sink in a little bit, and then and a week later do some more. And practicing online is always way easier than doing it in real life. So we practiced online first. So that's quite
And
nice.
Katrina, you did yours physically at the 3-day event.
Yes, I did. Yeah. And we've talked about this a number of times, Jill and I, because obviously she couldn't get to the physical stuff. I personally don't like video. I found it very uncomfortable right back at the beginning of lockdown to actually go through that pain process. But now I'm getting used to it. And actually, Jill and I have run a few courses online, and it is much easier to hire out a venue, get lots of people in, and all of that is a really big cost. Whereas if you're doing it online, then it's really easy to attract people, and it's relatively low cost in terms of, it doesn't matter how many people are on the call, and you can reach people much further afield as well, which have got an interest in what you're doing, but not necessarily be viable for you to travel to. So yeah, I mean, we both love it now. But we created this sort of like area for us to focus on business, because that's sort of like the what we were interested in, wasn't it, Jill?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, go on.
I was going to say next slide because I can't remember what comes next.
Yeah. So yeah, next slide. This is.
Do you want me to go next slide, or was you going to say something, Jill?
No, go next slide, and we'll show you some of the programs that we've created. So we've done quite a lot of marketing. You see our banner there, and if you go to the next slide, you'll see some of the courses we did.
I'd just say, to add to what you were saying there about working online.
Yeah.
Never thought I would do it. Never wanted to work online, didn't think I would work online. But I started working online before lockdown for different reasons. One of them, health reason, because it wasn't easy for me to travel for about a year for health. And so I started work online, and that was before lockdown come. And I've not only got used to it, I've realised there are some things you can do online you can't do physically, and vice versa.
Yeah.
But just out of interest, recently I've run 2 half-day workshops, and one of those was physical in Scotland, and the other one was online for Greece. And the online one actually paid more money, and I didn't need to go anywhere. The online one took me a genuine half a day. It took me about 3-4 hours. The one to Scotland took me 2.5 days because of all the travel problems we had with the aeroplane being late, and then we missed the connection, and it took me 3 days to get over because I was so tired, because I didn't get to bed till 5 a.m. So I love to stand in front of a crowd, and there are a lot of advantages, not just personal advantages, but also, of course, environmental advantages. Yeah. And I see a lot of my corporate clients thinking about this these days, like ease with the team of connecting, and how they can reach more people and less impact on the environment.
Yeah.
Here's the next slide.
Yeah, so and I quite like the idea of doing a combination of both, because there is something generally great about having a room full of people where you can exchange ideas. But the online system, particularly the goal mapping system, is it's really great to be able to coach somebody online to actually to do their map, and then they've got something at the end of it. So we've done several different types of courses. We've just done small introduction to goal mapping, where we just do a little bit. We've done a series where we're unlocking your potential using goal mapping, and that is just looking at going into a bit more depth. And then we've done one where we've done it over several weeks. We've got people to harness their inner brilliance over several weeks to deliver that training. And then